And why is it so important? You had made a point earlier that I really wanted everyone to hear. Write the letter now because of what?
Because you never know when they're going to leave you. You know, you will never have that chance for them to actually sit and read that letter. Mm-hmm. Because they'll be gone to heaven. And don't regret it. Do it now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Yeah. And she said heaven, not hell.
Yes.
We go to heaven.
Heaven.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So that's a really important point that that we want to get those letters written now while they can receive them, and then obviously if they've gone on to heaven, then
still can
share our love and in loving memory of them.
Yeah,
if that's the case.
Because with the letters, they can actually keep that and be a keepsake. If you continuously texting them, that's not a keepsake for them to keep in that box. That we all know we have cards, we have letters and things like that. This is something that they can keep forever.
Hello and welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show. I am Kim Jacobs, your host, and I am so excited that you tuned in today. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. Today I have two very special guests with me. One is Miss Christine Kozachuk.
Thank you for having me.
Who's already been here before. And Christine, many of you know about her story, and if you don't know about her story, you want to go back and check it out right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. She came on and shared a story about how she survived domestic violence to the point where literally she was fighting for her life. And now, many years later, she's gone to become an international speaker, traveling to Guyana and all around the world. And she's just a sensation, in my opinion. She's an international success. And so I am so excited to have her on my show today again. And I'll tell you what we're going to be talking about shortly. But I'd also like to introduce my other special guest who's going to be on with us today, Lashanda Millner-Murphy. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
And Lashanda is actually, as you can already see, she is a fashion expert. And she helps people with professional imaging. Today, I'm not dressed by her, but on an upcoming show, we're gonna have her back, and she's going to be my special guest with a show dedicated specifically just to her to talk about her backstory. And I'll also come on dressed and decked out in Lashanda Millner-Murphy professional attire. So you'll look forward to that. But today, ladies, thank you all so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. And guess what we're talking about today? A book that Christine Kozachuk actually is the author of, and co-authored along with 6 other authors with you, Lashanda Millner-Murphy, is a book called Letters of Love, Dear Loved One. And hold it up for them to see it.
Letters of Love, Dear Loved One, and this will be yours.
Oh, yay!
I will sign it once we're all done.
Thank
and everything
you so much.
Especially for you.
Well, I'm thorough. Right here are all of the people that have co-authored the book with Christine. Christine is the main author, and she has a sincere passion and vision about letters of love, dear loved one. And some of the authors on here with her are Lori Dvorak, Lashanda Millner-Murphy, who's here with us today, Donna Lee Reed, Tam Smith, Connie Bird, Jackie Ingram, and Gretchen Mitchell-Smith. And letters of love, dear loved one, are letters to the women and young ladies in our lives that are here now or in heaven. So I am excited to have you all on this show, and thank you so much for my gift. And I want to talk to you today about what inspired you to write this book.
It was a vision. My grandmother passed December of 2012. And if you go back and listen to my story that we had first taped, my mother was actually my grandmother that raised me.
That's right.
Yes, she was my mother.
Okay.
And she passed away December 2nd of 2012. And December 2nd of 2012, I wished every day that I could pick up that phone and tell her how much I loved her. And she would tell me, write me a letter. You know, back then, you wrote letters, write me a letter.
Right.
So with this vision, I was like, as women, we forget to tell each other how much we love each other. We are so busy going through life that we forget the women that's right in front of us until they're gone.
That's interesting. Because I would write my great-grandmother, and I am going to write my great-grandmother a love letter, and my grandmother, as a result of reading some of your book already and hearing some of your story. Because that's a good. So, what kind of letter did you write your grandmother?
I wrote my grandmother of how much I loved her and how much I thanked her for being who she is. And for her, she was such a strong woman. She was a widow at such a young age, in her 30s.
Yes. And this is Miss Scotia Hurley, right?
Yes.
And Scotia Ann Hurley. I have read her letter that you wrote, and I mean, one thing that you said in here is that after Grandpa was murdered, you raised 6 children plus 2 stepchildren, all on your own.
Right.
And what was that like, being raised by a grandmother who had to deal with her deceased husband and now still press forward to be able to raise children?
When my grandfather was murdered, I was around 2 years old at that time. And they actually took care of me because my mother couldn't take care of me. I actually slept in one of these little dresser drawers in West Virginia because I didn't have a place to sleep or anything. And, watching my grandmother, I believe that's why I am who I am today, the strong person. Because she worked at Welch Emergency Hospital raising all those children plus all of her grandchildren pretty much. And she never closed her doors to any of her family members, and we grew up in a 3-bedroom trailer, and going in to her home, you never, you was always welcome. There was always food there. But I would wake up in the morning, there would be 15 grandchildren on the floor because she was not going to close her door to any of her grandchildren. That's
interesting. Well, my great-grandmother had 23 children.
Wow.
20 out of her body, and then 3 that she adopted. And she was like 4 feet, maybe 5 inches tall. So she was very petite, little framed woman, and strong. So our grandmothers from back in the day were like strong warrior type of women.
Absolutely.
And so now you co-authored this book.
Yes,
what is your role in the book, and what inspired you to actually say, yes, I would love to be a part of this journey?
Well, it was a pleasure being asked from Christine, and her vision was something that I believe in.
Okay.
I do. I'm a hugger and
you are.
I love you type of person, but I do that naturally. But what this project has given to me and helped me with is to write it out. So it's one thing to say I love you, but to really write out your feelings is just another aspect of love. And so it allowed me to be a little more vulnerable in that whole message of I love you. So I'm proud to be one of the authors of this project, and it has helped me outside of this project to do more writing instead of texting and emojis. So it's just been a great experience.
Now, who did you write to in the book, and I'm trying to go to what page? What page is this?
I wrote
here I see it.
both of my love. I wrote 2, and one was called The Glue, which was about the women of the Milner family, which is really my foundation.
Okay.
And then the other is about Now and Forever, my high school counselor.
Oh, and I see that here in one of the statements in here, and the glue, and then this is to all of the Milner women.
Yes.
So you didn't just select one; you just kind of
grandmother,
honored all
great grandmother, great aunts, because all of them have played a role in my life.
And you say strong, courageous, generous, great cooks, nurses, educators, entrepreneurs, family first mindset, believing in God, dog lovers, fanatic about keeping the house clean, dishes out of the sink, obsessed with fashionable clothing. That's where you got that from the Milner women?
Yes.
Because you're obsessed with fashionable.
I am.
Hard workers, caregivers, believe in making only A's and B's in school, prideful, a let's get it done attitude, committed, never late, no excuses, never complain, lift others' spirits, problem solver, green thumb, decorators. I mean, you got like a lot of stuff here. And so as you say, I sometimes ask, where did me come from?
Yes.
And why am I this way? You got to get this book right here to hear some more of this story. This is a great read.
Yes.
So I encourage people to get Letters of Love, Dear Loved One with Christine Kozachuk and 7 other inspiring co-authors. And all of these women are a force to be reckoned with. So it's not like you just have any old Joe kind of authors here. You have some tremendous co-authors that have wonderful stories to share.
Yeah.
What made you select these particular co-authors?
I know majority of them except one. And, just talking to them, and when I called them and I said, I have this vision for this book. And I said, I want you to be in it. And they said yes.
No one can say no.
Nobody can say no to Christine Kozachuk.
And about the subject, about the title, no one can say no in expressing
their
I love you, right?
Right.
Yes.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And so now the people that you, for example, Lashanda, actually wrote to, these are women that are living and deceased, or
yes,
both?
my school counselor is deceased, and of course some of the women in my family have been are deceased. Yes.
And the school counselor, so she never saw this letter.
Never saw that, but I'm planning on sharing it with her daughter.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wait a minute. Now I need to go back to the page. Girl, you gonna have me on the show? I need to bring my tissue. Wait a minute. So, now and forever. So what is okay? Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So she never knew each day when I would walk into the high school, and she's always busy. She never knew that I was really observing her. Not at the time of me needing her to prepare me for college, but just watching her help other people and what that has helped me learn to do.
Wow.
Yeah. So you never know who's watching.
Yes.
That's interesting because I actually had a high school teacher that I felt the same way about, and she just inspired me. She recommended me for the debutante ball, something growing up in the inner city and I was in the projects. I had a lot of hand-me-down clothing. Believe it or not, I actually thought I looked good. I had Oscar de la Renta, Jordache, and I didn't know that I was like, Jordache, girl, look at my Jordache. But the thing is, I was poor. I was poor. Living in an inner city housing project and trying to live up to the expectations of what everybody was wanting you to be in school, trying to be a leader, but then I knew I didn't have a lot, you know? So this woman believed in me, and Miss Cynthia, I'll never forget her. She believed in me, and she made me feel like I could conquer the world. And here she's a teacher. She doesn't have to take me on as a personal person that she's now embraced and deciding that she's going to make me like a mentee of hers. And that I'm going to write her a letter too, so you guys are going to have me writing some serious letters.
And that's what the book's about. Instead of this technology of the texting, and get more personal with the women in your life, because they are our mentors. They are the ones that's grooming us for the leaders of the world. And when they're gone, like my grandmother, you're going to wish that you had. And like one of the authors in here, and my next book, I'm going to encourage more of the authors, is Lord Warwick. She actually wrote a letter of love to herself. So I hadn't thought of that.
Yes.
So I'm going to do.
I can't wait to read the whole. I'm going to read. I can't wait to read this entire. This just came out, so that's the only reason I did not read it all yet. Is because I just got my fresh copy, hot off the press today. So it's not like I would not have read the book. I would have already read it. But I am so inspired, and I can't wait to read it. Now, what made Lori write a letter to herself? Do you know?
Her and I had talked about it, and she says, I'm going to write a letter to love to myself, and I would encourage, to do the other authors. And I had to put it out there, but, that was their choice of what they wanted to do in their chapter. But the next time, that's one of the requirements that I'm actually going to require them to write a letter to themselves, because as women, we forget to love ourselves.
Wow.
We forget how much to love ourselves.
So now I have to write a Dear Kim Jacobs. Dear Kim Jackson Jacobs.
Exactly.
Because I need to go back to my roots.
Exactly.
And talk, girl, you're going to make me cry. Just the places that I've been, the things I've experienced, the things that look like the end is going to come quicker than what I could have envisioned because of my childhood. And I was like, man, you know, you don't ever want to go through life feeling like your childhood is bad. But definitely, let me say this, I have to write a letter to my mom.
Yes.
Because my mom raised me as a single mother. And she never, ever made me feel like I couldn't be everything I was destined to be. She told me, if you can think it, if you can dream it, you can achieve it, Kim. And every pageant that I was in, I went and I was in like Miss Black Virginia, Miss Black Newport News, and I won that piece and went to Miss Black Virginia as a finalist. I was in the Miss Newport
I learned
News.
something new about you.
Yeah,
I did not know
right?
that.
I was in all these pageants, right, growing up. And when I would go in, I had this really short haircut. And my mom, I was like, whoa, I gotta get out of here because I'm in the wrong place. All of these Dolly Parton hairdos and these gorgeous women, well made up. And I was like, Mom, this is not where I'm supposed to be. My mom said, you stand flat-footed and you tell your story. Because you have the same right to be here as any of these other young ladies. And she made me feel like I can do it. I can accomplish anything I set my mind to.
I've got chills all over.
It just made my mom is my strength to make me feel like I can do anything. So Mom, you're going to get a letter. You're definitely going to get a very heartfelt letter. And my mom is alive. And that makes a difference.
Yes, it does.
For me to be able to pour a letter into my mom, thanks to your inspiration from Letters of Love. So who else did you want to write a letter to?
I wrote, a letter to my mother. So that's my grandmother.
Your mom is alive?
Yes, she's alive. And also my daughter and my granddaughter.
I saw that.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about just a little snippet of what you said to each of them.
You know, it's for my mother. I told her, how much I loved her and how hard I knew it was for her to raise us in that way. Even though, my grandmother raised us, she still was the best mother that she could have been. So I thanked her for that, and just telling her, life is great and just go after your dreams. Because my mother's, she's at that point after my grandmother passed, she kind of gave up on herself. So that gave her some encouragement of, how much I love her and how much, to go after your dreams. You're still young. Go after what you want. And then my daughter, I can explain when I gave birth to her and how much, when I looked at her, she was born at 11 months before Christmas morning. And when I looked at her, of just how much I fell in love with her and how much I'm still in love with her. And how proud that I am to be her mother and to see her as a mother of 3. Yes. And seeing my granddaughter, I wrote a letter to her telling her how honored it is to be her grandmother and the women in her life that she's had before her and how strong that she's going to be.
And what were their reactions when they read your
My daughter and my mother
letter?
Cried. But of course my granddaughter's only 10. She really can't, the concept of it, she will, but they cried. They cried. And my mother said that was the most precious gift that she's ever had. She actually had it framed.
Oh, my goodness. And how about for you, Lashanda? Some of the women that you gave them the pleasure and the privilege of receiving this honor.
So as I said, they're really my foundation. And that was my first blast is out to my family when we have a family Facebook page. So, so I blasted out there and they start going on Amazon.com to purchase the book. So during family reunion, I already have a part in the program is to read read my letter to the women of the Millner-Murphy.
That is incredible.
Wow.
So wait, so now during the family reunion, you're going to read your letter of tribute to all of the Millner women.
Yes, and it's coming right after we always read family history. And so we can always understand where we came from and, the journey that our family has, the path that they have paid for us. And so behind that will come the letter that I've written.
I'm so overjoyed because this is like such a touchy, this almost like, my husband's forever referencing like Lifetime and stuff. He's like, all you ladies watching Lifetime, this is better than a Lifetime book. The Letters of Love. Okay, so if you like Lifetime, time, you're going to
Definitely.
love
Yes.
Letters of Love, Dear Loved One.
Yes.
And you know, it almost reminds me of like Chicken Soup for the Soul type of thing.
Yes.
This is what you could do. Not,
Yeah.
I mean, we're live here type of thing, but you could do different volumes.
I am.
And do them for different types of loved one.
Yes.
And not that I'm your agent or anything.
Yeah.
That's what
We're girlfriends here talking, right? But imagine like Letters of Love, Dear Loved Ones, for those
Men.
that are,
Yeah.
for your spouse or for your,
Yes.
oh my
Yes.
gosh.
So that's already in the plan to do one for the men, volumes for the men, and more volumes for the women. And then, you know my heart right now is in Guyana, working with those women in Guyana.
Yes.
So one of the projects that I'll be working on at the end of this year is for them in Guyana to put that together to help the women in that country
Wow.
for their nonprofit there, to help the profit from there to go there. And like that book itself, I don't make profit from it. The reason that I made that book is the profit actually goes to a charity for women and children, whoever we choose.
Oh,
For the
yeah.
charity. We chose Gabe's Heart Foundation.
I didn't
And-
even know that until I saw it on something yesterday. I was like,
Yeah,
Gabe's Heart Foundation?
we-
What?
Gabe's
That's
Heart
love.
Foundation, and also to help teen mothers, because with the teen mothers of the Covenant House here in Charlotte. So all the profit
Wow.
from that book, whether or not you come at the book signing, on Saturday, or what you purchase on Amazon, goes to the Gabe's Heart Foundation and the teen mothers at the Covenant House.
Wow. Well, that was, you know what? That was so much of a surprise to me when I saw Gabe's Heart Foundation listed as the recipient for some of the proceeds for this particular book. I had no idea. And so I just want to say thank you all so much for considering Gabe's Heart Foundation.
And we want to thank you for everything you've done to help us to promote that book.
Thank
And
you.
things like that. So thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. And this helps Gabe's Heart continue to beat when you all support him. So
Absolutely.
thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
The letters of love.
The Letters of Love. And you know I'm going to write Gabe a letter.
Yes.
Yes.
I have to.
Yes.
I have to write my baby a
Absolutely.
letter because I wasn't. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna go south.
Yes.
Okay, if I start talking about that too much, I'll be on the floor.
Understand.
So you understand, I'm
Yes,
sure.
yes.
But anyway, I want to let you know that I am so honored that you all wrote this book, and I'm so inspired by it. And I want the rest of the community to know how they can get a copy of Letters of Love. If they want to get a copy today, how do they go about getting this beautifully written book?
If you want to get it today, go on Amazon.com and just Google Letters of Love, Dear Loved One. Or you can even Google, my name, Christine Kozachuk, but it's easier Letters of Love because that's a long name.
It's a long, beautiful name.
It's a long name. Now, if you also want to watch us for the launch on Saturday, you can also go on and watch the launch at lettersoflovebook.launch.com on that. So,
lettersoflovebook.launch.com. And why they're mentioning Saturday is because that's going to be the official book release for the Letters of Love, Dear Loved One. The event is taking place at 13925 Erwin Road. Again, 13925 Erwin Road, and that's in Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Rock Worship Center.
Yes.
Which is, my husband is the pastor at the Rock Worship Center, and we're going to be hosting the launch of your book.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we're quite excited. We're going to be having our Women's Fellowship, and that's when we have our monthly Women's Fellowship event. And so some of the women will be there ready to write our own letters of love.
Yes, yes.
And so you're going to be our guest speaker, or you
Yes.
or Lori, or one of you guys,
Yes,
right?
I will be the guest speaker, and Lori will actually be conducting an exercise on the Letters of Love, or writing the Letters of Love. that
So
day.
Saturday, if you want to be a part of our fellowship at the Rock Worship Center, 13925 Erwin Road in Charlotte, North Carolina, you could come and join us and write your very own letter of love to someone of your choice. And there's no parameter, right, to who it should be
and
to.
to find out, how they can be in the next book. That will be volume 2.
Wow.
So, that will be announced also on Saturday of how, I will choose the next authors in that book.
So bring your girlfriends and your mother, and
I like
just
that.
enjoy these couple of hours from 9 to 11 on Saturday. So grab all your girlfriends and come on over and enjoy the experience, the opportunity of writing a letter, the exercise that we're going to have. So I'm really excited. Again, I want to thank Christine for allowing me to be in this project. and thank you for exposing this to the public.
Oh, thank you both
Yes.
for joining me today. And I mean, you're fashion queen and an international speaker, but in addition to that, you're now authors.
Yes.
And so that's added to your
thank you.
accolades. And so I'm really glad that you allowed the book release to happen right here on the Kim Jacobs Show.
Yes.
This is an exclusive interview, by the way. Not to say that you say exclusive, and then if somebody else calls, you're like, girl, bye. We went on that interview. I have to tell you this one quick side story.
Yes.
One time I interviewed for my show when it was on PBS. I actually interviewed someone that was the last plane survivor of the plane crash off the Hudson.
Mhm.
And so I was like so excited about interviewing him because the first responder was going to be there and the person that survived the plane crash was going to be there. But I really wanted to interview the captain, right? And he was like, oh, I'm not taking interviews. I'm not available or whatever. I was like, oh, that's understandable. That's admirable. Until I clicked the show on and saw him on Oprah. I was like, I started crying. My family laughed and laughed and laughed. They were like, Kim, that's Oprah. I mean, so he did take the interview. Okay, I said, well, why did he take the interview? I might write him a letter too. No, just it won't be a letter of love.
But I love how you were Oprah.
Oh yeah, I love how you took the interview. But anyway, on this Saturday,
Yes.
we're going to be having the book launch for the Letters of Love,
Yes.
February 16th at the Rock Worship Center, 13925 Erwin Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. Please make sure you attend at 9 o'clock a.m. You're going to hear from these lovely ladies and some of the other co-authors, and you are in for a tremendous treat. Plus, you're going to write your own letter of love.
And you get to meet my daughter and granddaughter that I wrote the letters to.
Awesome.
I didn't know that. Any closing comments you want to share with the public?
Just go on Amazon and purchase the book and help the nonprofits of Gabe's Heart Foundation and Covington House that he helps teen mothers. Yes.
And why is it so important? You had made a point earlier that I really wanted everyone to hear. Write the letter now because of what?
Because you never know when they're going to leave you. You will never have that chance for them to actually sit and read that letter. Because they'll be gone to heaven, and don't regret it. Do it now.
Yes.
So true.
And she said heaven, not hell.
Yes.
We go to heaven.
Heaven.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a really important point that that we want to get those letters written now while they can receive them. And then obviously if they've gone on to heaven, then
still can share.
we can still share our love
Yes.
and in loving memory of them.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Because with the letters, they can actually keep that and be a keepsake. If you continuously texting them, that's not a keepsake for them to keep in that box. That we all know we have cards, we have letters and things like that. This is something that they can keep forever.
Yes.
That's so good. I'm so glad, ladies,
Thank
that
you.
I had you all on the show. I could like, I can reach you, but I can't feel you, right? Mwah, mwah. See, she's a fashion expert, so she's not about to stand up. She's like, fashion experts don't do that. We do the. Meanwhile, I'm like my whole side's showing everything, trying to reach. I'm so glad that you guys tuned in today to the Kim Jacobs Show. Make sure you join us for the Letters of Love, Dear Loved One book launch on Saturday, February 16th at the Rock Worship Center, 13925 Erwin Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. And you're going to meet some fabulous women.
Yes.
Plus, you're going to write your own letter of love. Thank you for watching this edition of the Kim Jacobs Show. Have a great day.